Welcome back to This Week in Agribusiness. Thanks for joining us. Max, this time of year, the days get a little shorter, the nights get a little longer, and it's cold, and it gets people thinking about their mental health, and maybe it gets a little stressful.
Oh, I know I do, and it's tax season coming up.
Yes.
You know, that brings me down as well. But the last time we talked with Adrienne Desutter, it was in the spring. Those days in May when farmers are able to get out and do some work. It's a little different scenario now. Adrienne, welcome to the broadcast this weekend. I want to get a little guidance from you on how maybe we can approach this tougher time of the year. And for many farmers or ranchers with the solitary existence, it can be a little bit difficult during the winter time.
Absolutely. And thanks again for having me, Max. It's always good to have these conversations. We've heard of the winter blues, and really anyone can get in a funk in the winter because, like you're saying, the weather's cold. You can't get out and do some of the exercising and things that maybe you're used to. I'm not used to that because I don't do the outdoor exercising, so that doesn't affect me. But we're restricted. We're a little bit isolated, and as we've seen in the last couple of years, isolation can really take its toll on us. There's a couple of things that we need to keep in mind, though. When we are in our off seasons farming, we don't let our equipment in our fields just sit. We make sure that we take care of them. We take a look at what needs to be done. Maybe it's now, maybe it's later, but we make sure that before we have to get them in full swing again, we take a look at what repairs need to be done, what type of tiling needs to be done. And so it's really important for us to do the same thing with ourselves. Experts will tell you you need to eat, you need to move, you need to exercise, you need to get your rest. Those are all great tips, but of course everyone's a little bit different. So making sure that we're doing that maintenance and taking a look at ourselves to manage our own stress in the way that we need to uniquely is really important.
The meeting season is underway, and many of our friends will be there in hallway conversations or in a lounge somewhere visiting. They're not just sitting in a classroom atmosphere. Is that helpful, too, to meet with friends, a young farmer meeting with another young farmer?
Absolutely. It's interesting because when the pandemic first started, a lot of farm friends were saying, well, this is kind of what we're used to. We're kind of isolated anyway. We don't do a lot anyway outside of the farm and outside of the rural areas. But then those meetings shut down for longer periods of time. And I remember my husband saying, for me, going to a corn growers meeting every month is kind of my therapy. It's kind of my way to vent with people that are like-minded. So this conference season, this meeting season in the winter is definitely a helpful tool. Even if being social isn't your thing, just being able to get out and hear that other people are sharing some of the same either struggles or just same experience as you can be a healing experience.
It certainly can. And Adrienne, when we're talking about isolation, getting out and doing things, engaging with others is certainly good, but also so is helping others and lending a hand. Do you have any thoughts on farmers getting together with one another during this winter season?
Oh, absolutely. And that's a wonderful thing to bring up because there is something healing. Again, studies will tell us that doing things for other people lifts our spirits, essentially, and it increases the chemicals that work in our body that are those happy chemicals. So yeah, anything you can do, whether it's in your churches or your local communities, food banks, anything that you can do with your farmer organizations to help your communities and help each other out is definitely a good thing. And of course, we know that keeping an eye on each other as farmers is so important, especially during these times where we aren't necessarily out and about with each other. Just being vigilant for things that might seem off, things that might, maybe someone doesn't seem like themselves, making sure that we're keeping an eye on each other and taking that step to ask, hey, how's it going? You seem a little off today. Really can show people that they're being cared for.
Adrienne, you lift our spirits when you join us here. We appreciate that. We'll count on you to do that another day. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Max.
Adrienne Desutter on the farm in Central Illinois.